I want to go on the Trans-Siberian at least once. It's a fun journey, I think. I remember nothing of it. The bell of the stuccoed and whitewashed Moscow station gave its third and final clang, and the platform erupted into frenzy. Rough-shawled peasant women wept freely as they kissed their emigrating sons and daughters goodbye, while businessmen and prospectors in smart fur-trimmed coats slipped money to the provodniks to secure their compartments. I did the same. And we found ourselves in a small cabin with heated water and even a shaving mirror. Bribery gets you anywhere. Let's wait. That's the one I was looking for. Experimental hovercraft to launch from Yokohama soon. That's why we've been reading newspapers. That's the one we missed last time. I want to see if you can get on that trip. And you can only get this journey if you read the newspapers. We were away. I familiarized myself with the train's layout. The last two carriages were heavily guarded prison cars, then fourth class, then third, and so on, with amenities scattered between passenger cars. The candlelit chapel was presided over by long-bearded Orthodox priests and full of the pious, and were positioned near the crew's quarters. I spent an hour listening to their murmured chanting and felt quite reassured. My bed that night swayed along with the motion of the train. From Moscow to Karimskaya was a journey of over 5,000 miles, and we had only just begun. Yeah, so we couldn't go, we were warned not to go to Vladivostok, because Vladivostok was a military location. So we're trying to go a shorter route, we'll see if that works. Our fellow passengers were a mix of convicts, political radicals, prospectors, businessmen, and military officials. In the midst of this was a young lady, Rosa, modishly dressed in a rich military-style jacket and fur toque. I made her acquaintance, only too easily. She was desperate for a sympathetic ear and told me her great secret. She had fallen in love with a peasant boy in fourth class called Jack, by which I understood that they had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car. They had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car. Okay. Oh dear. I promised I would give her her any aid I could to pursue her tryst. Of course. What else could I do? Surely it would provide some entertainment on our long voyage. We crossed the Volga in the early afternoon, crawling slowly over a bridge perched on high stone pillars. The devout Russians stood and crossed themselves while looking out over the water. I could just hear the lilting rhythmic oar-beating songs of the Volga boatmen over the whistle of steamboats. Your character is now zestful. That's the right rank, isn't it? I think Zest will approve. Just like last night, we also went zestful then. I will see, Kebzero. I wouldn't underestimate them. We crossed the Urals today. At the risk of sounding like a jaded traveler, I must admit that they are hardly magnificent. A heaving up of earth and forested hills for a few hundred miles. We stopped for an hour at Ekaterinburg, where I spotted the young lady slipping off to fourth class. Her worried mama followed soon after, demanding whether anyone had seen her daughter Rosa. I made an excuse for Rosa, gesturing discreetly in the direction of the lavatories. They were mixed-sex conveniences, and a cause of much inconvenience, truth be told. Her mama was convinced. and settled down to her luncheon with gusto. Rosa returned a half-hour hence, cheeks flushed but otherwise unharmed. She cast me a grateful glance. I could only hope her little amour would not blossom into outright scandal. Oh, these buttons disappear so fast, I don't have time to click them. Okay, Grim Fog. We've gotten the newspaper I wanted, so I'm okay with that. Time on board trains takes on a meditative quality. Takes on a meditative quality. I visited the library car and met Goland, the daughter of a Mongol chieftain, who was poring over a thick volume of algebra. I lamented my lack of mathematical skill aloud, and she laughed. I must study algebra if I am to be an engineer in the Imperial Army of Russia. I wish to leave behind my ancestors' warrior past. But you have a glorious history, I replied, aghast. Golan turned a page. A glorious history for men, for war. I'm going to make my own history. She folded the book closed. You have travelled, monsieur. They call us barbarians, don't they? She asked. Who are they and what do they matter? I demanded, with a fine rhetoric and spirit. Your life is yours. She leaned forward, eyes shining. The truth is, there is more going on in my country than most outsiders know. We are growing fast as a people. What do you mean? I asked, intrigued. This is an era of progress, she replied, tapping her books. Of systems and of thermodynamics. And my people, we have discovered some very interesting things. I was intrigued and leant forward to hear more, but the girl shook her head. I won't tell you, she said, and laughed. I will show you tomorrow night on the deck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I will be there. I nodded. We conversed until supper, and she presented me with her family's sulde, a Mongolian horsetail banner. I do not have any need of my past where I am going, she said. You have it. Do with it what you will. Her character is now organized. Ooh. Let's groom fog some more. Omsk. Omsk today we decanted a full score of British, Dutch and German merchants, and took on more military officers, who cleared an entire first-class carriage for the use of a mysterious couple. I caught a brief glimpse of... the woman behind the bristle of bayonets. I was fairly overset with curiosity, but it would be several days before I encountered the couple again. The hour grew late, and my meeting with Goland, the mathematician, approached. Monsieur Fogg watched me bustling about our cabin with suspicion. You look as though you are planning an escape, he remarked. I am meeting someone. Monsieur Fogg's eyebrow twitched in that manner of his, but he said nothing, returning to his newspaper. I breathed a sigh of relief and hurried from the cabin to meet Goland on the viewing platform of the train. You came, she said. I'm glad. As am I. She looked at my eyes for a moment, then smiled quickly. Taking my hand, she walked along the edge of the rail, the wind tugging her hair into a wild dance. The train's lamp was a single candle in an endless night. Lifting my hand past her cheek, she pointed my finger out into the desert. There! I saw nothing except evening stars. I shook my head, and Goland laughed. There, she exclaimed. How many stars do you know that move? She was right. One gleaming dot on the dark horizon was lifting upwards. Goland squeezed my hand. That star is the Garuda launching, she replied. It flies at night to keep it a secret, but now you know it. Thank you for entrusting me with it, I replied, and she nodded. You seem an honest soul. I shall hold it in my heart, I replied with gallant sincerity. I hope so, her dark eyes flashed with hot anger. A moment later she stood on her tiptoes. Uh-oh. Hot anger. She stood on her tiptoes and leaned forward. Oh dear. Out there on the deck of that remarkable train with the endless Russian night bitterly cold, the lady of the steppes kissed me. Your character is now zestful. Oh my, the outrage. This is getting obscene. A full kiss. Keep grooming up, Fog. Let's see. There we go. Rosa absconded once again, and her mother caused quite a ruckus in the breakfast car. Apparently, the girl is affianced to a rich, rather stiff-looking German merchant who boarded at Omsk. Yeah, we're zestful. I predict this comedy of errors will come to no happy end. As the sun set over the taiga, Monsieur Fogg expressed a mild boredom with the monotonous view from the carriage windows. My own feelings were quite different. As I stared across that wild view, a view I liked so much that, once night had fallen, I went to stretch my legs on the viewing platform for the second night in a row. We're approaching Irkutsk. Let's check the newspapers again. Moscow police query mysterious Frenchman. Uh-huh. We didn't tell them nothing. There's Urga. I don't know if we're going to go there though. We crossed the halfway mark of our journey today. In the morning we wound up the Angara Valley towards the mining camp of Irkutsk, the great city of Siberia. I saw Golan disembarking with her suitcase of books and struggling under the weight. I rushed to her aid, but she brushed my help aside. Generous sir, she murmured, but I cannot be seen to be helped by a Frenchman. I stood back, stung, and watched as she met a man on the platform, an uncle perhaps, who scooped her up with great familiarity and led her away to a horse, parked neatly in the courtyard beyond. Then she was gone. So now we have a choice. I mean, we paid the fare for all the trip across. But we've fallen in love with Golan, haven't we? So, what do we do? If we disembark here, we might pursue Golan, but we won't know the tale of what happens to Rosa and her lover, or the mysterious people that boarded at Omsk. Many considerations here. Do we stay aboard the train or do we leave, folks? And while you might think about that for a second, I need to take a quick bio break. We'll see. See what you decide. Back in a moment. Back I am. Sorry about that. You want us to leave the train for romance? Yeah, I suppose so, Kebzero. I'm fine. We'll go. I guess we'll... I persuaded Monsieur Fogg to disembark. That means we're gonna squander some funds though, because we paid for the whole journey and stuff like that. But we'll see what adventures we can find in Mongolia, I suppose. I persuaded Monsieur Fogg to disembark. As usual, he agreed with little need for persuasion. We hopped down from the train just as its engines began to whine into life once more. Now we have to explore. Because our lover is already gone. To Urga, and from Urga to Beijing. Okay. Irkutsk was a surprisingly beautiful town and packed with so many churches that one could not look up at any street corner without seeing a dome or steeple. We explored, entering the city across a bridge made of tethered boats. My acrobatic skills made the crossing easy despite being loaded down with 4 cases. But Monsieur Fogg found it a most unpleasant business and, once across, refused to return to the other bank. On a street corner across the water, we saw a group of soldiers stop and turn to face the sun, praying bareheaded. There is a steady calm about this place. The people are both devout and poor, despite the gold that flows through the city every day, on its way to St. Petersburg. The barges of precious metal are fast, but no good to us as they are heading the wrong way. I kept looking for Goland as we walked about the wooden pavements, but did not see her. I suppose that she had been whisked away by horse caravan into the deserts to the south. Perhaps the sight of the mysterious Garuda would persuade Monsieur Fogg to follow. Uh-oh. I think we have a plan. I assume we can go to Urga with horse caravan, or all the way down to Beijing via train, a freight train. I suspect we'll have to go to Urga first though in order to do anything. Departs tomorrow, 4 p.m. Okay, nothing we can do but to spend the night. Wait, how many suitcases? 4 suitcases, that's more than adequate, right? We have... yeah, we have 4. We have the Mongol Suld, worth a fortune in Salt Lake City. Well, a bit more. Oh yeah, this is worthwhile in Yokohama. We're gonna pass through Yokohama. And most likely Beijing and Yokohama. Manila... Beijing, we're gonna head through Beijing now, so now that's gonna be valuable. Didn't plan to go through Beijing, but now at least I have something to sell there. Hotel time then. And tomorrow we'll go by buggy into the Mongolian wastes. We'll see how that goes. Nighttime in Irkutsk. From nearby, we heard the ferries moving back and forth Lake Baikal. And nearby, the mining machines cranked on through the night. Otherwise, all was still. We were in the very wilderness of the world, and I could not help feeling that we had taken a wrong turn somewhere. I went out to explore, but found nothing for my wanderings but an old beggar who insisted on reading my palm. I allowed him, and he screwed up his eyes before foreseeing a great loss in Hong Kong. I thanked him, and he nodded and crept away. Yeah, if you go through Hong Kong, bad things can happen, we know this. That is the one thing I think this game shares with the actual novel. But we're gonna go head to Urga first, on a Mongol caravan. Let's go. We joined the regular Buryat-led horse caravan between Irkutsk and Urga. Monsieur Fogg had a passable seat, of course, but I... steel myself to endure the long ride. My steed was a stocky Mongolian horse of even temperament. It had a much better notion of how to conduct itself than I did, and so we came to an uneasy understanding. Yeah. Byambin, the caravan leader, had brought his family along to visit relatives along the Selenga River, and so our journey was full of lively conversations in a language I did not understand. Let's groove Mr. Fogg. Gotta keep that moustache primed, after all. Byambin drew his mount up to us as we stopped for the night. Family, he said, and rolled his eyes. Be sure to shake out your sleeping bags before you bed down. My little cousins are terrible pranksters. Good advice, as it turned out. Well, when had they managed to smuggle so many spiders into our bedclothes? We keep getting pranked, don't we? Oh well. I asked Byambin whether he had seen Goland, describing her as best I could. A Mongolian princess, he translated for his sisters, and all of them howled with laughter. Can you wrestle, my friend? What does that have to do with it? I asked irately. Biambin's elder sister Namgar clapped me on the shoulder. I will tell you the story of another Mongolian princess, Kutulun, niece of Kublai Khan. It will help you woo your Guland. I wonder if I will ever see her again. If I am honest. Consider my story nonetheless, said Namgar. Cthulhu decreed that any suitor must defeat her in a wrestling match. If they lost, she would take their horses. The princess was a wrestler? Namgar gave me a long, assessing look. Ah well, she sighed. It is probably for the best. You would make a terrible Khan. We fell silent as the caravan reached the town of Verkhnodinsk. Ah, my friends, the simple luxury of sleeping under a roof. Maybe I chose the wrong path there. Maybe we can't woo the princess properly now. We were stopped by a troop of Cossacks a few miles out of Verkhnodinsk. The yellow stripes on their cap bands and trousers bright against the grey-green landscape. Cossacks. I gave them a bright smile, let's be optimistic. Attempting to look like an innocent tourist. Alas, there was not much tourism in Transbaikal, innocent or otherwise. The Cossack lieutenant pointed at me and asked a series of questions in Russian. I glanced towards Biambin, who made a series of wide gestures which I hoped meant, "These are strange foreigners, but quite harmless, Lieutenant." The Cossack troopers interrogated the other caravaneers for a good hour, but eventually rode away. "They are looking for an escaped convict from the nearby Katorga," Biambin said darkly. "Nothing to do with us." The journey was suddenly seeming endless, and my Goland was nowhere to be seen. Oh, Passepartout, I thought, what have you done? Yeah, I think this might have been a mistake. Similar to our attempt, you know, in, yeah. Urga beleaguered by cattle influenza. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's where we're headed. Right into the flu. This could go badly. We awoke to uproar. A thin, ragged woman had staggered up to our camp in the pale light of dawn and collapsed beside the horses. Colin! Oh, but of course it was not. I was seeing the girl's face in every shadow and rather embarrassed about it too. "This woman is the prisoner the Cossacks seek," Biambin said, tugging worriedly at his sleeves. "We should leave her." Namgar gave him a freezing look. "She came to our campfire, and you would turn her away?" The Cossacks are already gone," I pointed out. They need know nothing." "The Cossacks will return, and if they find her with us," Biambin shuddered, "then we will be the ones in the prison camp." No, we must take her with us, of course," I declared. "No matter the consequences," Monsieur Fogg added. "That is very nice to hear," Namgar said sweetly, "but I would have sooner left you two than her." She picked up the convict like a bale of hay and slung her over my mount. I held her gently and gripped the reins with my free hand. The woman stirred a little, and I saw her eyes were a bright leaf green before they slid shut once more. "I do not want to break rocks for the rest of my life," Biambin muttered sadly, as we set out once more. "I will surely choke on prison camp gruel." At least Fogg approved. That's good. Fogg approves. We're heading towards Urga. The convict woke today, and to my surprise, she spoke French as well as Russian. It was not my first time in the Katorga, Verushka boasted. Nor is this my first escape. What crime did you commit? I am a Narodnik, she explained. I fight for the peasants and for the revolution against the Tsar. But you are no peasant, I pointed out, noting her educated tones, if not her ragged clothes. I do not have to be a peasant to recognize their suffering, she replied. Verushka told me she had studied to be a doctor in a Swiss university, but given up her degree to fight injustice in her homeland. Do you regret coming back here? I asked, looking at her sunken eyes and pallid flesh. How can I regret it? Verushka sighed. The Tsar can send me to Siberia 1,000 times, but I will not lose my purpose. Oh my. Will we find Goland, I wonder? Verushka and Namgar had a shouting match on the outskirts of Urga. She wishes us to abandon her, Namgar raged. She thinks she will put us at risk if she enters the city with us. We will take the risk, I said stoutly. We have come this far together. My friends, Verushka said soothingly. I will simply wait here for the nightfall and creep into Urga alone. I will take a Garuda and be gone before the Cossacks ever suspects I was here. It will be easier to sneak in with a group, I said. We can hide you in our number. Yes, Namgar exclaimed. Now that is sensible. It is a grey risk for you, Verushka added doubtfully. Are you sure? Of course, I said firmly, and after a moment she gave me a tremulous nod. We dressed Verushka in Biambin's clothes and tucked her hair under a rough cap. She made a passable man, given how thin and dirty she was. We rode into the city together, hearts hammering wildly. A Cossack trooper looked us over, and I smiled and chatted away in French, hoping to distract him from our smuggled cargo. He pointed at Verushka, who muttered a few words in a rough Russian. The Cossack waved us on. My heart lifted as we made it into Urga. Verushka leapt from her horse and threw her arms around Namgar, and then me. Thank you, Passepartout. Thank you. Good luck in your revolution. I don't need luck, she laughed. I'll send you a pamphlet from wherever I end up. I'm going to expose the Tsar's katorgas to the world. With that, she kissed me upon the cheek and disappeared into the crowds of Urga. Oh my! We're wooing so many ladies now. The boots will... yeah, the boots and the jacket, we can sell those here. Come on, let me sell that. Come on. The Buddha statue, Honolulu, sure, let's take that. Oil paints, sure. Iron ore, sure, let's buy it. Knitted gloves and a stopwatch, let's buy everything. Buy, buy, buy. Okay, that's new routes, we explored a few. Beijing. Wait, do I have to go through Hong Kong if I go to Beijing? Oh no. We arrived in Urga and I walked the city, hoping despite myself to catch a glimpse of my Mongolian princess. Of course, I saw no such thing. Someone of her class would not be wandering between the tents, temples, low buildings and melting plants. I was looking for any hint of the great flying ship, the Garuda, which we had witnessed from the observation deck on the Trans-Siberian Express, but there was no obvious place to begin. Within a few hours I had seen hundreds of monks. There seemed to be more monks than laymen in Urga. Uh-oh. I stopped one. Uh-oh. The yellow or the red monk? Which color do we go for? Yellow or red? Red sounds dangerous to me. But I don't know monks or the coloration. Are anyone here a secret Tengri? You choose red because it's a bright color? Okay, fine. Let's go with red then. I stopped one wearing red, who sat on a bench in contemplation. I'm looking for the Garuda, I said. He smiled back. The Garuda can fly hundreds of miles in just a few minutes. It soars into the air on wings of spiritual lightness. Where can I find it? I asked. The monk nodded. The Garuda is secret, but I believe in openness, he said. Know then, it takes off from the ruins of the Russian consulate on Consul Hill. I thanked him, and he murmured a gentle blessing. I moved off on my way back to Monsieur Fogg with news of my discovery. Ooh, shortcut! Oh, okay, that's worth it. So much for Beijing. So much for Beijing, we're going straight for Yokohama. That's kind of a pity. 3 suitcases only though. At 11 AM. 1,000 pounds to shave off a day. No. Actually. I think we'll go to the market. No, we can't go to the market because I bought everything. That is unfortunate. That means I have to drop a whole bunch of things. Okay, let's do this. Departs tomorrow at 11 AM. I can only bring 3 suitcases. So we'll have to drop the train tables. Don't need those anymore. That's gonna be valuable in Yokohama, Manila, Honolulu. We're not gonna go through Beijing now. We are gonna go through there, so we'll keep that. We're not gonna go through Manila. Let's sell the stopwatches. Singapore, Beijing. I'm not going to go through any of those cities. Sell the oil paints. It's a pity, but that's okay. That lightens our load a little bit. Let's wait for tomorrow. Wait, no. Oh, there was still something on the market. No! Fine. Okay, let's sleep. We are running a little low on funds, but so be it. We took a room and settled in, and I ran a few errands for the hotelier. That's fine. So we made some money. Time to depart on the Garuda to Yokohama. Let's embark. Oh, it's gonna be wearisome, that's fine.